Die, rebel scum. Oh, hey, how's it going? Have you ever wanted to play that Star Wars Battlefront 2 game mode Galactic Conquest in real life? Well, I've got a way to do it because I always wanted to do that too. There's a game called Star Wars Legion, which uses miniatures like this to replicate Star Wars battles on the tabletop. They can range from small-scale skirmishes to these massive battles, and it feels really good. It feels cool to have your own take on Star Wars as a property. And Star Wars Legion battles feel like how I would imagine a tactical version of Star Wars Battlefront 2 would feel. And so I was always hunting for like that strategic aspect of the tabletop game, because what you're getting on the table is a tactical game. I looked around for campaigns, and I did find a few, but most of them were either unfinished or were more narrative focused, and those can be a lot of fun, but I wanted something that you could just sort of play with the resources you already have and a simple rule set that felt similar to that feeling you get from the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game, but with a little bit more strategic depth, but not too much complexity. So I created something. I made a Clone Wars campaign for Star Wars Legion, and it uses the map from Star Wars Rebellion, which is another game by Fantasy Flight. So if you can mix these two games, you can create something that is exactly what you'd hope for from like a Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. So in terms of what you can get your hands on right now, I've created a tabletop simulator mode for the Star Wars Rebellion map, where you can play this out, and it has all of the rules you'll need for a full campaign. And because I didn't want this game to be aspirational, I want you to be able to play this, it is limited to a 6-turn campaign. And each of those turns is about 6 months of the Clone Wars campaign, not your real playing time. It can be much faster than 6 months. I want you to be able to finish this campaign in a reasonable amount of time. I'm going to quickly give you an overview of what we're looking at here. So in terms of what you need to get going, you can use your existing Star Wars Legion minis, plus Star Wars Rebellion from Fantasy Flight, or you can play the whole thing online through Tabletop Simulator. And I have this all pre-made for you, so we can go into that and check it out. Let's do it. All right, so this is what you're gonna see when you load into my Tabletop Simulator Workshop mod. This has everything you need to get going. It has the unit pieces for the Separatists, has the unit pieces for the Republic. Now, what I'm not going to do is show you all of the rules, because it's, well, not a complicated game. It does have some minute rules, which you'd just be better served reading through than I would trying to give you the brass tacks of it teaching you right now. But just to kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at here. You have your Separatist units over here. Heroes can be unlocked throughout the game, but all you really need to worry about is your Tech Level 1 armies and your ships. Ships ferry your armies throughout the galaxy, and there's a very simple fleet combat system to deal with. When you first land in the game, you'll have a blank galaxy map in front of you. The Republic gets to choose their first planetary capital, and they want to kind of pick one that can construct both fleets and units first. So these little icons that come pre-built in your Star Wars Rebellion game, I've repurposed them. Their meaning is now different. They can construct fleets and armies based on their color. Blue means they can construct fleets. Yellow means they can construct armies. So when you're choosing your first planet, having a blue and yellow symbol is pretty nice. This first planetary capital is going to be worth a lot more money and victory points at the end. So we'll lock that in, change the loyalty to Republic. Boom, now it's the Separatist turn. I think they're going to go classic, and they're going to choose Geonosis, which also has the 2 symbols. So we're going to lock that in, and then we're going to flip that to their loyalty. There's going to be 2 more planetary capitals that are also worth a lot, but they start neutral. The Republic player is going to choose Mon Calamari, and we'll lock that in. It does not switch to their loyalty. And then we'll say the Separatists are going to choose Sullust. This, you know what? Yeah, we'll choose Sullust. We'll lock that in. This means that these planets are going to be worth a lot more. Now, the only rule for placing planetary capitals is that they can't be adjacent to any other planetary capital. This means the most important locations around the board will be spread out. So once you've selected those planetary capitals, you'll take them out of this little probe deck, which also comes in the Star Wars Rebellion box, and then you'll take those cards out and then deal 2 more planets, which will both start loyal to the respective people who drew them. The Republic player gets Let's see, what did they get? They got Ord Mantell and Mustafar. So that means, looking over here, Mustafar will start loyal to the Republic. And then Ord Mantell, you know, everyone knows where Ord Mantell is. It's right here. We'll also start loyal to the Republic. Now, the Separatists, they're going to get Yavin, Classic, and Kashyyyk. All right, boom. Separatist, and Yavin is right here. Separatist. Now, this is interesting because the Yavin planet is minor, but it also can't construct any armies or fleets. So it's going to be easy pickings for the Republic if they want to devote the resources to taking it over. And they might not, because it's not worth that much. So it might mean the Separatists get a cheeky little back door into Republic space. Interesting. Isn't that fun setup? At the start of the game, both sides will get 1,000 credits to set up their board, buy armies, and that sort of thing. The interesting thing is, while fleets are public information, armies are private. The fact that an army exists is public information, but the size of that army is private. So for instance, let's say the Republic takes their army and builds it on Megiddo. They're going to tint it a color, we'll say pink. They're going to give it a little pink tint, and they're going to write down on a separate sheet, or however they want to keep this information to themselves. They're going to spend 300 credits on this army, which means that army is 300 points. Once they've finished spending all the credits they want to spend, then the game will start, starting with the Republic. Now, how this works is both sides will get 10 actions, but they have to pre-choose what those actions are before the round starts. And there's 3 types. There's a move action, which is your primary moving and taking over territory action. There's the conquer action, which you can do when you actually have boots on the ground and you want to kick the doors open to a planet. And then there's the diplomacy action, where you just send your diplomats out and have a small chance of turning planets to your side. So let's go ahead and say the Republic player wants 4 diplomacy actions, 4 move actions, and 2 conquer actions. At each turn, they'll start by taking one of the actions from their hand, playing it down to the board, and then resolving it. Then it switches back over to the Separatists, who will do the same until you're out of actions. Once you guys are done, you'll move the round down to round 2, or whatever round you're on now, and then the game will continue to the next logistics phase, where you'll get credits based on how many planets you've claimed. So the game really is that simple. You're rolling your dice, you're moving your mice, and everybody gets hurt. Essentially, whenever you take the move action and 2 armies end up on the same planet, that's when the Star Wars Legion battle happens. So if you're playing this IRL, you can step away from the Rebellion map and then go fight this out on the tabletop. The other way you can do this, though, is if you have Tabletop Simulator, let's go ahead and open up the workshop, and we're gonna open up the Star Wars Legion mod. Immediately, this does a lot for you because they have a lot of pre-made maps, and there's other map packs online that you can use, and you can throw together maps quickly for a lot of different planet types. You can also create armies really quickly, and I think that's honestly pretty helpful. So for instance, you go over here, I'm playing the Republic, so I'm going to quickly spawn. I've got, say, 380 points to spend. I can quickly do that by just seeing the point cost here, adding my commander, who is now a generic clone commander because I haven't unlocked any heroes, adding some corpse units, phase 1 clone troopers because I haven't unlocked phase 2 clone troopers yet. Boom, I can already see I'm at 107 of my 380 points. It's so easy to quickly make a battle happen. I can then go over here, look, check out my maps. We're doing a smaller battle, so we'll do a skirmish. And I'd say an Imperial checkpoint's pretty good for a battle that's happening on Mandalore. So let's take a look at what we got. Yeah, this looks good to me. We've got a pretty even thing. Now, obviously, these holo ads are a little bit out of place for the time period. So I could always say, oh, well, you know what? The Separatists are here, and they've set up an ad for, getting rid of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But if you don't like that, you can unlock a holo ad like that and move it out of the way and replace it with like a barricade or something like that. Totally fine. All of that stuff's a little bit minute, but like essentially you have so much power in tabletop sim to do what you want the same way you'd have power to do it IRL on the tabletop. And I think this is great because you can essentially play this campaign for what is free or the cost of Tabletop Simulator without having to get all of the minis and paint them and stuff. And yet, you can still do it if you do have the minis, because it's fun to have the minis and play with them. I think that's great. And the only thing I will say is that sometimes you may find yourself fighting over ground where you know you've lost. There are rules for retreat. There are rules for surrender. Yet at the same time, you may want to fight battles out where you are at a disadvantage, because at the end of the battle, any unit that is permanently lost has to roll, and if they fail to roll, that army loses that amount of points from that army, which could seriously impact your opponent. So maybe you do want to fight out a battle you know you'll lose because you just want to put some damage on them. Totally valid. And that's what I think is really cool about this mode, is that it adds context to battles. And that's what I think is interesting about strategic games, strategic sides to a tactical game, is that sometimes it's not about winning the battle. It's about winning the war, and just causing your opponent to spend too many resources on a fight means that you are winning a war in a different section of space. And I think that's what adds context to a battle, and I think that's what makes this kind of strategic map very cool. And in terms of what's coming for this mode, I am going to continue playtesting it with my friends. If you end up playtesting it, let me know what you think. If you have any ideas or notes, I will keep updating both the mod and the rules, which I'll keep updated in the description of this video. Currently, there is no support for the Galactic Civil War yet, because I really wanted to nail down this Clone Wars campaign because it's more limited in scope. And I wanted to kind of adjust the rules to a really tight campaign that I think really works with the context of the Clone Wars being like a 3-year one and done thing. But I will eventually make rules for Galactic Civil War as well. The other thing that I wanted to do as sort of like a stretch goal for myself is to add in Armada support. So instead of my very tight rules on fleet combat, which I think will always be an option, if you are interested in kind of that grand idea of also having space battles, Armada is going to be my answer to, instead of just spending money, a small amount of money on fleets and doing a quick roll to see who wins fleet battles, you have the option to play it out on the tabletop with Armada. That is not currently supported in the rules yet. The only real change I'd have to make is economy balancing, because I'd have to devote more points, I think, to the ships in Armada than is currently balanced within the economy of the game. And that's all going to happen through time, essentially. And the other problem with the Clone Wars is that Armada doesn't have the most support for the Clone Wars. So that might be something I do once Galactic Civil War is out. But we'll get there. We'll start with this very tight and easy to digest campaign, and you'll play it. You let me know what you think, maybe, and I'm gonna keep playing it because I'm already playing it and having a blast with it. So we'll see what we think. All right, so that is it. We have a Galactic Conquest mode, IRL. Hopefully it's as nostalgic for you and as satisfying for you as it is for me. What I might do is do a small playthrough and post a video of that, just to sort of get the idea of it going for you, which is a more long form, less edited video. If people really are hankering for me to explain the rules in a video, I can do just a straight video breakdown. I'm more of a rules reader kind of guy, so I prefer to just read the rules and figure it out that way. But if enough people really want me to just do a rules explanation, I can. The only problem with that is I'm doing so many rules updates that I think a video like that would get outdated really quickly. So I'm gonna stick at the moment to just updating the document, and then maybe once I hit like this is completely done, and I'm not gonna be making any more changes to it that aren't just minor errata, then I can make a rules explanation video. So if you're interested in playing a Star Wars Galactic Conquest Battlefront 2 mode IRL, here it is for you. I hope you enjoy. See you next time.